Hey, it's Dr. H of Get Motivated, and I just wanted to shoot a really quick video giving my well-being enthusiast perspective on COVID-19 and also to offer you all a couple of strategies, at least two, that may help to improve morale for you, your family, your friends, for your veterinary practice or your veterinary organization, as well as maybe decrease the stress a little bit. Over the past, I would say week and a half, 2 weeks, I've had several people to reach out to me, just kind of, asking for words of encouragement, basically about the difficulties that they're facing with their practices. We're truly in uncharted territory with this COVID-19 pandemic that we're having, and maybe your clients are misbehaving, maybe they're not following protocols, maybe your team is feeling stressed, uncertain, worried, concerned. Maybe you're feeling that way. Maybe you're a hospital owner and you're worried about the state of your veterinary practice. Like, is your business going to fail if your hospital has to shut down for a month, 2 months? It's really crazy to think about. So I was planning a gala to raise funds for an endowed scholarship fund for underrepresented minority students at a veterinary school. And that gala was supposed to happen on April 4th, coming up in a few weeks here. And about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I pulled the plug and said, we're going to cancel that. And that was a really big deal. And it really became apparent to me that, this thing is going to be more serious than people were thinking when veterinary schools and then entire public school systems started to shut down. But with all of that being said, there are a few different things that really give me hope. We've made it through some pretty tough times as a nation and as a world. We made it through World War II, where I believe there were millions of people who have died. We made it through a civil war as this country. We also, as an entire planet, survived the Spanish flu of 1918, something that was killing people within 12 to 24 hours, like healthy, middle-aged to young adults even. And when you think about the fact that we are still here today and that the economy has been moving forward up until these moments, it really puts things in perspective a little bit. But there are a couple things I wanted to talk about. And so the first strategy that I have for you guys, and these are strategies that I'm not telling you that you should use them. I think you should do whatever you want to do. But these are ways that I stay afloat in times like these where, we're in uncharted territory and nobody really knows if you're going to get a call tomorrow saying, hey, don't come into work for a month or 2 months, or if you're going to get a call from a loved one saying, I tested positive for COVID-19. Like, you just don't know. These are two strategies that really help me to just thrive in whatever environment or circumstances or conditions or life events that I happen to be going through. And so the first one, I'll tell a quick story to kind of explain this first strategy. So back when I was in undergrad, North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride, I was going to school on a full ride tennis scholarship. And in my freshman year, I vividly remember myself as well as our teammates complaining about so many different things. We complained about the budget that we had as a tennis team. We were the lowest funded male sport at the school. And we complained about, some of the buses that we had to take on the trips, and, we didn't have this and we didn't have that, and the athletics department wasn't treating us right, and blah, 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 all these other things. And the very next year, they discontinued the men's tennis program. And I remember in that second year, I was writing letters to professional athletes, to all types of organizations, trying to see if someone would fund our tennis team, and nobody would. And I vividly remember being really disappointed about the fact that there were going to be no more trips, that I lost my tennis scholarship. They let me keep it for that second year, but after that, for years 3 and 4, I had to cover that on my own. But most importantly, I really enjoyed competing against the other schools in the MEAC. I enjoyed, going to practice and interacting with my teammates and taking the trips and everything else. And just like that, I really wanted to go back to the way things used to be. And I know that for many of you, you may be looking at the way things are now and thinking that they're really, really bad. But I would argue that maybe these are the glory days. We have a lot of flexibility and freedom right now. If you go outside, if you go to a store, parking lots are going to have cars in them. People are still out and about. People still have a lot of flexibility to go and do what they want to do. You can still go to the gym, I believe, even in certain jurisdictions and locations. And you can still go to work. You can still get paid in a lot of jurisdictions and regions. And there are a lot of people who aren't sick yet. Maybe they have the virus, but they're not showing clinical signs. And so there could be a day, be it tomorrow or be it 3 or 4 days or maybe 3 or 4 weeks in the future, where things are completely different. And we may be looking back on days like today and this past week like, dang, we wish we could go back to just having the sort of the freedoms and the flexibility that we had on how we have on today. So the first principle is the principle of deep gratitude, the ability to be grateful for things just the way they are. And the second one is very similar to that. And the second one is perspective. And the perspective that I would lean on right now, that I'm leaning on right now, that my wife's leaning on right now, is that there's an advantage in every disadvantage. And I tweaked that a little bit. I got that, there's an advantage in every disadvantage from a mentor, but I tweaked it a little bit to say that there's opportunity that can be found deep within all chaos that we face in life. And if we're looking at COVID-19 in this scenario, where's that advantage? Where's the opportunity in that? And for me, one of the ways that I kind of look at it is, COVID-19 as a virus, with its mortality rate and with the population of individuals that are actually dying from this virus, it's really kind of a weak virus. Highly contagious, highly infectious, but in terms of severity, unless you're, I think it's age 50 and older or have an immunosuppressive condition, that it's really not going to debilitate you that much. Maybe you have flu-like symptoms or something like that. Now, there have been viruses in the past, and I imagine that there will be viruses and infectious agents in the future that could be very, very, very debilitating. One thing that I've noticed, and that I think that the entire world has noticed at this point, is that we are largely underprepared to handle something that's highly contagious, like this virus has been. But to me, what better virus than COVID-19 to be sort of a practice round for being unprepared to handle the illness and to be unprepared to continue to society. The economy seems to be tanking. If you look at the stock market and just, business in general is having to shut down, people closing down, things like that. People having to lay people off. Even my wife was just telling me this morning that people in the veterinary profession or, veterinary hospital owners are having to lay off their nurses and technicians and receptionists. And when we think about that, how much worse would it have been if this virus were just taking out toddlers, teenagers, young adults, middle-aged adults, as well as the geriatric population? And in that respect, if you look at it with that spin on it, that I almost see it as, it's almost like winning the lottery in this case. The fact that this virus is affecting only, certain populations as opposed to just everyone. And I know that hypothetical situation, that if you're going through something right now, if you just got laid off, or if you're struggling financially, or if you have a loved one who's sick, or if you're sick yourself, that hypothetical situation doesn't help that much. But it's just an example of one way of sort of looking for the advantage and the disadvantage. And the advantage, if you didn't see it in that explanation, is that the mortality or the amount of lives lost are much lower than if the virus had been something that were that much worse. The last thing I want to share with you guys is that if you're struggling, if you're still out there in the field, and again, thank you for all that you do. As veterinary professionals, we're largely undervalued, underpaid, overworked, and sometimes even overlooked. So thank you for, if you're out there in the streets and you're still treating animals, and I'm going to be out there this weekend doing it. My wife's out there right now doing a mobile appointment. And I apologize about my bird. You know, that's Jack downstairs, my wife's bird, and he does that all the time. Really loud, really annoying. If anyone's looking for a blue crown conure, he's got one for you. He has a potty mouth. But thank you guys for everything. Maintain your boundaries. I know that clients are out there, and maybe even some of your employees and your staff out there, maybe bosses, managers are out there, and that people are stressed, man. And that people are going to be acting out of character because we're in uncharted territory. But being in uncharted territory, dealing with something like COVID-19 is no reason for people to be disrespectful or to not follow protocol. And so with that being said, have your boundaries in place and follow through on your boundaries. If clients cross those boundaries, handle that accordingly. But with that being said, there are a few other links that I have in the article below this video. Check those out. Stay as positive as you possibly can. I know it's not easy. Remove as much negativity. I'm checking in with the news like maybe once or twice a day. That's about it. I'm not checking the news to see what new cases pop up. Just because I just don't want to fill my mind with all that stuff. And if there's something that I need to know, I have full confidence that I will find out. With that being said, I wish I could just sit here and talk to you guys for the rest of the day, but I'm going to go downstairs, and it's kind of like my day off until this weekend. I'm going to go downstairs and I'm watching Lord of the Rings right now. I've never finished it all the way through, but maybe I'll find some analogy of Lord of the Rings that I can bring back to you guys in a future video. But with that being said, check out, we got Get Motivated podcast, we got blog articles, and maybe I'll try to post videos and articles a little more frequently for you guys if you feel like they're useful or helpful. I know that we're going to make it through this COVID-19 thing. I don't know what the future's going to look like in the future, but I know that we will make it through, and that at the end of the day, things will be that much better. So be nice to each other, be kind, thank you for what you do, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Okay.